gets out there and creates their own narratives. And y'all don't always believe me, even though I tell y'all the truth. So, except Cornblood, I never tell him the truth.
Years ago, there was just consistency with him, just had to improve. So
Yeah, I mean, he had to just, from definitely early on in his career, and Aiden was the most consistent, and Aiden did a nice job for us. So he just couldn't quite beat him out, and Aiden got the game experience, and we were comfortable with him, and did a nice job.
The fans had like a tailgate part 2 during the rain delay. They were having a party up there waiting for you guys. What does that support mean for you, for them to
Were they
stick
selling
around?
alcohol in the parking lot?
Yeah, it might have helped with the sticking around a little bit.
Oh, it's great. I really appreciate those that hung in there. I mean, that's just, it's a tough. It was a great crowd at the beginning, and then it was, fairly sparse. But those that were there were awesome. I mean, they were loud, and they were, right on point when we needed them to be. So I really appreciate that, because again, I know it's just and they want to be safe. I mean, there's storms, there's all kind of stuff. So I thought they did a great job. Again, those that hung around, we really felt that presence, and it made a difference for us down the stretch.
What's your relationship like with Brent Key, interim coach, trying to kind of do what you did?
Yeah, Brent's been great. We've spent a lot of time together, talked together a bunch, and he's a Birmingham boy. Played at Hewitt Trustful. I played at Pelham, so we're both from kind of same neck of the woods. I just think he's done a great job. He really loves that place. He played there. It's important to him, and he's put his personality into it. They're a physical football team. He's a offensive line guy, and he believes in running the football, and they live that out. So I think he's done a really, really good job, and he's recruiting well, but he's put a good staff together. I think their staff is excellent. Staff's done an awesome job. You got really good coordinators, and so got a lot of respect for Brent. Always fun to be around him. He's got a good personality. He's got good perspective.
What's the challenge? They've got a first-time DC that's not really been a play caller. You got like really one game's worth of like real tape.
Yeah.
What's the challenge of facing that?
It's a challenge. I mean, at least you have Colorado. I mean, that game came down to the wire. So, I mean, they wasn't worried about Clemson, playing Colorado. They're doing everything you can. Like I said, every game's a season of its own. You gotta just be in the moment you're in, do everything you can to win. So, at least some years you got teams you play and they ain't played anybody in 3 weeks, so you don't really know. But you got a little bit of a feel, and you got a couple games at least seeing their personnel, and obviously we got some tape from last year as far as some of the personnel stuff. But you got to look at Texas. I mean, he came from Texas. Obviously, we played them, so you study that, you study his background a little bit on where he's been, and try to do. These first couple games are all games that you have to do a lot of off-season work in to try to have the best possible plan that you can. Especially, I mean, you do it regardless, but especially when you have coordinator changes, or you're playing somebody that's got just a total roster makeover. So now you got to spend a lot of time, just trying to get a feel for who the player is, even though you're looking at him in a scheme that maybe isn't the same.
2 games, and how do you feel about the rotation at tight end, what they've been able to get out of the offense?
Yeah, they've been good. I think they've been a steady group. Like I said, we got 3 guys that we really like. Sapp had a little better week. A little better week last week. Ran out there first, but those guys they're all guys we have a ton of confidence in. Benton Coor is just going to keep getting better. He missed 2 big blocks, back-to-back plays late in the game that he'll learn from. But he's made some plays. Sapp's made a couple plays. Olsen's made a couple big plays. I mean, I think the tight ends have been a real bright spot for us. Just steady with what we've asked them to do to this point, but more to come.
The 2 nickel spots, and there was a bigger and smaller one. What did you like from the rotations at both of those positions?
Well, we've just had the 2 games, so the style of the teams we're playing kind of dictate that a little bit. The team we just played, personnel-wise, very different, and so you saw a lot of linebackers. And you saw Jamal, kind of our Sam guy. He played a lot of that position. I think Tink might have played about 15 plays. I mean, there was probably only about 20 snaps. And then you got AV that's playing some stuff too when we get into some of our package stuff, on some long yardage stuff. So, not having Khalil hurts us for sure. I mean, because he gives us the most flexibility. But the glass half full side of that is Ronan has been able to really, I think, advance in these first couple weeks and play through some mistakes, but just be able to go play. So I think that long term it will help us. So be excited to get Khalil back.
How important was it for Sadler to play as many snaps as he had to play at left tackle for you last week?
Well, I wish he didn't have to, but again, some of these things early in the season can pay big benefits for you as you move, because they don't forget that. And he's a guy you go into it and you say, okay, we really like, we got 5 tackles. I mean, that's how we with Tristan and Blake and Sadler and Elijah and Braden. That's kind of how we looked at, like, okay, we got 5 tackles that we're going to be able to go through the season with. And but in the heat of the moment, and all of a sudden now you got Colin having to bump out, playing left guard, left tackle. I mean, first of all, it's good for him long term, just his versatility and his ability to, put it on tape. I think that's a great thing for him, but certainly a great thing for us to have, flexibility with guys that we can move, get our best 5 on the field, however that shakes out. And when you got 5 guys that we think can play tackle, that's a really good thing. And Colin obviously can play guard. Elijah can play guard. Elijah can play center. That's a blessing. But so he's gotten some good experience now. I think that helps him. A lot like Elijah last year as a freshman, having to go play some tackle and do a good job. That you don't forget that. That leads to confidence.
Anyone else for Coach?
There was an ESPN article this summer saying how one of the transfer portal players you wanted to keep was A.J. Hoffler with Georgia Tech. Now, I guess what kind of made him a special player that you, I guess, wanted to possibly retain here at Clemson?
Yeah, I think AJ's a great talent. I mean, I think he's a great player, and I think he was kind of on his way, but that decision he made. He's a great kid, great mom and dad. Really just love the whole family, and wish we could have, finished the race with him here. But again, that's just a decision that he made, and respect that. And I think he's got a bright future.
More like a radio show that you want to see 5 seasons of eligibility.
Yeah.
5 years. How hopeful are you that could actually happen?
Well, I'm very hopeful, but I don't really have any intel, if you will. But I think it would be great for a lot of reasons. I mean, I think it would clean up a lot of the medical waiver, all that stuff. But I also think it would clean up an unintended consequence. When they put the 4 games in for the red shirt deal, you could play 4 and still red shirt. That was a positive. Everybody loved that. But now with the world we're in, now it's like, especially with rosters being lessened, and it's like, all of a sudden now you got, and it's not their fault. It's just the system, the way it is. So now all of a sudden you got a bunch of kids that are going to self-redshirt themselves after 4 games if they're not playing or where they are or they don't. And, you got agents involved. There's a lot of stuff. And all of a sudden you get 10, 11, 12 guys self-redshirt themselves to save a year. Well, first of all, it's not good for the game. It's not what it's not what it was intended to be. And I don't think it's good for the player. Whereas if you just, the 5 for 5 would just clean all that up. Because then guys could play. Even if they knew they were leaving, they'd still play, in whatever role they would and finish. And I just think you know, it just creates bad blood. And I you know, I just don't think that stuff's necessary. I think the 5 for 5 would clean it all up. It's just my opinion.
Anybody else for Coach? All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you.